Benito, a Filipino tale. Benito lived with his parents in a small village. The boy saw how hard his parents worked for a meager living and often dreamed of ways to help them. In time, Benito learned of a king who lived in a palace, so he traveled there to find work. At first, he was turned away, but Benito persisted and eventually secured a position. One day, the king sent for Benito and ordered him to rescue his daughter. She had been carried off to a faraway island. Benito journeyed for many days and finally reached the sea. Soon he came upon a giant fish caught in a net. "Free me," the fish begged, "and I will help you." Benito was happy to help the fish, who then asked him why he looked so sad. "I must cross the sea to save the king's daughter, but I have no boat and cannot swim." "Sit on my back, and I will gladly carry you," the fish said. When Benito reached the island, he met a woman in a long robe. Upon hearing his story, she offered him a vial. "The princess is in a castle guarded by giants. Just sprinkle them with this potion." At the palace, Benito saw the fearsome giants. They were not alarmed in the least by Benito, who seemed to be a harmless boy. As the giants approached, Benito sprinkled them one by one with the potion. One by one they fell asleep. Soon Benito found the princess, and they hurried to the sea. The fish was waiting for them and was pleased to carry them home. When Benito and the princess arrived at the palace, the king was delighted and grateful. The princess had fallen in love with Benito, and they soon married. Being a good son, Benito did not forget his parents, and they joined him at the palace. Number 6. Which of the following were settings in the story? Select all that apply. A. A small village. B. The king's palace. C. A faraway island. D. The sea. A giant fish. Number 7. Select the line that best supports the conclusion that Benito is determined and does not give up. In time, Benito learned of a king who lived in a palace, so he traveled there to find work. At first, he was turned away, but Benito persisted and eventually secured a position. One day, the king sent for Benito and ordered him to rescue his daughter. She had been carried off to a faraway island. Read the summary of Benito, a Filipino tale. Number 8. Benito gets a job in the palace of a king to help his family. Benito helps a fish that was caught in a net, and in turn the fish carries Benito across the sea to the island. A woman gives Benito a potion that puts giants to sleep. They return to the palace and are soon married. Benito brings his parents to live at the palace. 2 key events are missing from the summary. Select the sentences that include the missing events. Select 2 answers. The king sends Benito on a quest to retrieve his daughter from an island across the sea. The fish says, "Free me," and Benito helps him. Benito rescues a princess from the giant's castle. The king was delighted and grateful when they returned to the palace. The giants fell asleep one by one. Number 9. Read the dictionary entry. Adjective. 1. Lacking in quantity or quality. Select the underlined word or phrase in the sentences that most closely match the definition of the word. Benito lived with his parents in a small village. The boy saw how hard his parents worked for a meager living and often dreamed of ways to help them. In time, Benito learned of a king who lived in a palace, so he traveled there to find work. At first, he was turned away, but Benito persisted and eventually secured a position. Number 10. Determine the theme of the passage. Explain the theme using key details from the passage to support your answer.